This is the Infinite Podcast with me, Ulf Tønderflitti.
And me, Øystein Rabbe.
Together we'll go boldly into the unknown to explore viruses and diseases and
planets and galaxies,
simulations and universal basic income.
Yes.
With our wonderful guest, KP.
Basic universal income. What is that?
Yeah, what is that? That's sort of like everyone gets some.
Yeah.
Without no strings attached.
What about guilt and shame and stuff for not doing things?
What about that? You gotta listen to the episode to
yes,
get into that nugget.
Okay, let's listen.
Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of this current time, episode 2, special edition, something. Yeah, how are you, Ulf?
I'm great, man.
I like your pink headphones. Looks very nice.
Took them from my daughter. Cannot listen to music right now. She's asleep.
You sold them.
Sold them. Sold the kids.
She doesn't use them these days?
I sold the kids. I sold the kids.
Oh, you sold them, yeah.
Yes.
So more space, more time, more freedom.
More time to wake up. It's beautiful. Did not sell the kids. Seriously,
okay.
Relax.
Okay. So we have a topic for this episode.
Yes, it's impossible. I forget it. I have to write it down.
Yes.
Basic income.
And I think it's so relevant right now, this question, because what's going to happen after this big apocalypse thing we're doing? But it's
post-apocalypse.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It raises a lot of questions. What's going to happen after this? I think, and that's why I am interested in this topic, which is Did you have a name for it? The thing?
Universal basic income.
Yeah.
UBI.
Yeah. So.
UB.
Yeah. Okay, so you can take over from here, Ulf.
I can, and I will, because did you know that we have a Patreon page where you can support the Wake Up Show? Start on this side. That's www. But I don't have to. Do you need to put that in anymore, or
do you know we have a text kind of thing for this?
Yeah, I know, but I'm an old school type of guy. I've lived for trillions and gazillions of years, so I'm loving the paper. Patreon.com/The Wake Up Show, where you can go in and support the show. Your support really makes a difference, and obviously helps us survive through these tumultuous times of death and viruses and pop music, which I do like. Also, oh, nice. You're such a high-tech kid, man. So support the show and follow us and share if you like what we're doing right up in here. What we're doing is waking everyone up, of course. It's a simple task among two age-old friends, and
The computer hang up, so can't shift. Can't. I'm sitting on a very good friend, but it's not very quick.
Oh, look at that. It's even scrolling now.
Yeah.
You're really putting on the bells and whistles. Okay. If I, somewhere in here, we've hidden this wonderful guy.
I could hear him make a sound. I think there's someone here.
Knut Peter, how do you say your name in English? That's what I've been wondering for a long time. Oh, yeah.
Actually,
yes, welcome.
Actually, when I travel abroad, I usually just introduce myself as Ryan, because Ryan is my last name.
Yes.
But a lot of people, they want to try to pronounce my name, and they're not used to like the Norwegian way of doing it, where you can have like two first names, because my name is Knut Petter.
Yes, you have two.
They try to say just
cool, man.
so they try to just say the first part, which is K-N-U-T, and most people say nut or Knut or something like that.
Not
So
like
nut, can you please come forward? That's like
that's you.
I've been traveling a lot lately, so everybody in passport controls and stuff like that, they will say, "Nut, can you please come forward?" or "Nut, can you sign here?" Whatever.
Can you please not come forward?
Mr. Nut. But I have a friend from Canada, and she said it best. She just said "cunt." It's a cunt with a K. The letters got a little bit mixed up, but I'm sorry that we're already over on the
Genitalia part of the show?
R rating in this
But it's
episode.
after bedtime. It's okay. We're fine, I think.
Yeah.
We're fine.
So that's
so good to have you on board.
my name.
It's
Thanks. It's a dream come true to be here. It's really fun. I love what you've been doing, and it's
very interesting.
I really admire
that you're gonna say dream, because this night I had a dream where I was in America and the people in the dream had trouble saying my name.
Ooh.
I'm sorry I just interrupted you just for no apparent reason. The thing was that there was an earthquake in the dream. It was the best earthquake ever. And the people in the dream were really afraid, while I was secretly enjoying myself because I always wanted to experience an earthquake. Is that wrong?
No. I've actually experienced the earthquakes a couple of times in the Philippines when I lived there. And both times, for me, it was like a small-ish roller coaster ride.
Do you recommend it?
If it would have been worse, I'm sure I would have been scared. But right there and then, it was like... have you ever been on like a cruise ship or danske ferga, which we call it?
Yes, I've been on the boat that goes to Denmark. Yes.
They have this shaking in the tax-free when you go shopping there. If there's a rough sea and all the bottles are making sound.
Oh yeah. They're like,
and you kind of feel the little waving thing. So for me, the earthquakes were like really exciting. But it's kind of, you shouldn't joke about it, because for a lot of people it's a serious issue. But at the same time, tsunamis are a serious issue, and we can still get excited about thunderstorms, right?
Yes. How about virus outbreaks? Are they a serious issue?
In Norway, yes, of course, very. We have, I think at the moment we have 100 times more people with infections than in the Philippines, even though they got hit very early. They're a developing country, and I don't know how they've done it, but for some reason the virus hasn't spread that much. The whole country is in lockdown right now. It's they have curfew, so you can't go outside. You can't buy alcohol. They have like special instructions how to ride an elevator, how to stay away from people, like little things that they do. Like I was there right before the lockdown, and if you were gonna go to like a restaurant or into a hotel, they would either have like thermal scanners that would determine if you had fever or not, or they would put like not a gun, but like a laser thermometer towards your head and check, and they would say like, yeah, you're at 36.5 now, you can go inside.
Nice.
So and of course everybody wears masks everywhere, and everything is like squeaky clean. It's super crazy. But yeah, it's a interesting situation, because Manila is the city in the world with the highest density of people. highest population density.
Yeah.
So and also there's a lot of poor people there. There's lots of bad hygiene. Now they've improved that really quickly with like sanitation stations and more like
I was hoping you were going to say toilet paper, but
hand cleaning stuff. But anyways, it's just it's a strange story that I follow every day, and I talk to my people over there, and it's scary, but it's also uplifting to see somebody crush the Norwegian health system so immensely.
But
so yeah,
there's one thing that I realize now. I'm just going to call it KP because that sounds
fine.
super cool. And we've known each other for ages, but I guess the rest of us, for instance, the guy in the middle here, and our viewers, listeners, they don't know who KP is. Could you please fill us in? I think of you as my auteur director friend. You want to elaborate on that?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think that's correct anymore. I would say that I'm like a true naver, which means that I'm a true
like a welfare client,
unemployment hoarder.
Unemployable.
That's the word I'm going to use. I'm definitely unemployable. And, in the eyes of many, I'm a guy that is just taking away unemployment money from their paycheck because they think they have to pay more taxes.
Is this what my taxes are going? That's going to you now?
Yeah.
Damn it! I knew it. You know, actually, I'm also a novice. I'm also unemployed. Welcome to
Well, there's going to be a lot of us. It's going to be popular. I just wanted to be like on the forefront and do it, make it popular. Yeah, I'm a pioneer.
Was a welfare client before it was cool.
Yeah. But I also have another project, and that's I'm trying to become a YouTuber. And that basically means that I'm trying to be 14 again because most YouTubers are 14. And I'm going to compete
push it towards 21, but yes.
Yeah,
You're not
maybe.
Like
but I'll be competing against the largest and most competitive filmmaking area. I don't even know how to say it, but yeah, I'm trying that out, and so I've just started like a travel channel. It's going to be a little bit different travel channel, but yeah, it's definitely a travel channel. So that's me.
Nice.
That's you.
So, what do you think about the topic of this episode?
It's awesome. It's really good.
I'm just curious.
I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna do one thing. It's this isn't what was planned, but I'll do it anyways because I know what kind of subjects that you have for this.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just start by mentioning when I think I must have been like 11 or 12 or something like that.
It's a long time.
I started to think about what is the meaning of life. And after a few days of thinking, I concluded very sternly that the meaning of life is to find the meaning of life. So basically, it can be a different thing for everybody, but the search itself for the meaning is the true meaning.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we can probably come back to that later, but I just wanted to shoot it in now. So the
plant
things that plant the seed, and we'll get back to it.
Yeah, it's good thing.
So yeah. Anyways, the universal basic income thing is something that I've been following for years, and I've also been.
Can you explain what that is for those who haven't heard about the term before?
Basically, the concept is that everybody has a right to get their necessities covered by the state with a small sum of money. Like in the States, they're talking about 1,000 euros a month. In Norway, we've been talking about maybe 10,000 kroners. It might be a little bit more or a little bit less. They've tried it out in Finland. They've tried it out in Switzerland, I think. Canada has tried it out, and it's well, the philosophy for it is that it's going to be a bit different than the social welfare programs like unemployment, where you have to get the other benefits, you have to kind of prove that there's something wrong with you. But for the basic income, you just basically get a certain amount every month, and that secures that you can live, first of all. But also, for me, the most interesting part about it is that you can try to use that time to do something that benefits society. So, for instance, if you want to start a yoga school, or if you want to do filmmaking or make a channel like you guys are doing, or it doesn't matter. If you want to play in a rock band, you have this safety net that makes you able to do all these creative things. And you can also, not only creative things, but entrepreneurial things, like if you're an inventor or whatever, you can use this time to develop apps or I don't know, build cars. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. There are no like real strings attached to this. So it's not like you have to apply for a grant and then the grant says that you're given this amount to make this film or do this or do that. They just give you money and say, do whatever you want. And then people have that safety net. So yeah, it's I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, I like it too.
Very interesting.
And the interesting part is also how it raises the question, because it's so easy to be kind of attached to the system as it is, not because it's good, but because it's what we're used to. And the whole thing about welfare money on all these things is kind of, like you said, it's based on that there's something wrong with you. So you start on the wrong foot. It's like, so there's no hope for you unless you do all these steps that kind of takes you away from developing something new. Like a lot of the criteria to get those kind of welfare money today, at least in Norway, is that you have to apply to all these things, that you have to show up on different job application courses, and you have to send all these applications for things you don't like. But it's kind of a way to exchange money for your effort of getting to somewhere you don't want to be. And it's, the whole system is based on some infunctional values that doesn't serve us anymore. So, but I think it's the shift to go into the thing you're talking about is, to me, it just seems so much more natural in the way that things flow, like, because we are creating a system that supports growth instead of creating a system that try to hold it into a box. But I think for people when you're really used to thinking in the box system, it's natural to try to defend the box even more by justifying why, but how can there be enough money to do this kind of thing? Or because we are just thinking about the calculation of the money, not actually the value transaction that it is.
Absolutely. And another important thing to mention, since we're talking about this, is that one of the reasons why so many like strong thinkers in the world consider this like one of the major steps to forward society is that so many jobs right now are being taken over by robots or computers. Like there are no travel agencies left. There are fewer and fewer people sitting in cash registers. Like the semi trucks shipping goods all over the country, they're all going to be run by automatic driving in the future. That's probably not the right word, but self-driving trucks is going to take away a lot of jobs. So this is also something that we have to think about, and that's why we need a bigger security net. And I think this can be a relatively cheap way to secure enough income for people to survive, and make them able to be still a part of the society, and still they can try to function as well. Like for instance, with people like us who are freelancers, who don't have jobs all the time, but when we do, we're doing a good job.
I think, well, what I really like about this idea is it sort of creates a society where as to people are free to pursue what feels important to them without them being bound to this, well, I need to do that in order to, well, as you said, survive. So it sort of takes some of these concepts which we are sort of accustomed to, like, well, I have to go to this job, which I hate, to get the money to do the things that I love doing. So I love, like, say I love drawing. I just want to draw. I feel like drawing, but I have to go to this mundane job instead. Now with universal basic income, all of a sudden I can draw. And I can be really good at it, and I can sell my drawings, and I can, well, like, if you just speak about it like very like clinically, economically, it seems like it's just a matter of trusting the fact that people want to create. Like, because the way our system is built now is that people need to be forced to create something. If not, they're just going to sit on their asses.
Yeah, and that's also where you get all this kind of guilt playing a part in this. Like, there is this idea that you have to serve the system, even though it's not serving the whole. So the system is kind of working for a different goal than humanity is, but we still kind of hold on to it as a good idea because we haven't realized it's outdated altogether. And that's so when we are not able to serve the system, then we are kind of shamed, or in this kind of to the extreme that it's about shame and guilt that you're not serving, not doing your part of the society, and all these different emotions that people need to go through to take that step. And also I think that the question that it raises is this idea that we have this strict idea about what money is that makes it's so easy to believe that there is no way there could be enough money to have a system like that pays people for not doing shit. So that's kind of the belief that is out there, and that it's so easy to get sucked into this. But it to me doesn't make sense. I'm not intellectual enough, and I'm not understanding money intellectually enough to explain why it is this or that. But in my just gut feeling, it makes so much more sense, because the whole idea that money is something there's too much of or too little of, it just that's just weird in my world because everything is here anyway. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we made a lot of rules that we can play with each other, but what's the problem? Everything is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna grow tired of playing Monopoly, and we want to play.
I think we still have to have some like incentive to make money, to make so that because there's always going to be jobs that nobody want to do, but if you do them, at least you should earn a lot of money.
Yeah, I think there's that kind of.
But you said something that wants me to bring up an idea that I had a while ago, and it's serving society or something like that. And this is an old idea of mine that I've never been able to properly communicate it anywhere, so it's gonna kind of debut on this show.
Perfect.
Basically, in Norway, just to explain this, in Norway, we used to have mandatory military service. It was 1 year military service, but if you were like a pacifist or if you had a good reason to skip military service, you could do something called civil service. And I was going to be a fighter pilot, a jet pilot. I was going to fly F-16s. That was my plan. But I kind of understood at one point that I don't really have what it takes. So I started looking into other options, and I found out that if you become a pacifist and take civil service, you can actually work for like arts and culturally beneficial organizations. So I basically said that I don't want to touch guns, I don't want to kill anybody, can I please do civil service? And I ended up in a film company working there. So that was my kind of launching point into the film world. But what happened was at some point they just cut this out. The mandatory civil service is kind of gone. And I think it's kind of sad, especially today with today's youth. They don't have as many youth jobs as we had, so we could get like early early entrance, like paper route and all these different kinds of jobs. So anyways, so here's my idea. If we kind of bring back the civil service thing, but we use it for more beneficial, well, not only the civil service, but more like the military itself. It's like we got to look into what kind of people do we need in the future. And of course, health personnel is like a super obvious one. People dealing with the environment is obvious. There are a lot of like functions that we in society need to have covered, and I think a good thing to do would be to have something like the civil service, but to let people have this opportunity. And of course, we can always have something like if you're studying something and you don't want to do it, you can get out of it. But if not, you're kind of forced to getting your like super basic health degree, or I don't even know what to call it. But if you do, if we had a population where like half the population knew how to do like basic healthcare, we would be much stronger. And I think it would also be like for a lot of people, it could be a starting point in their career. Instead of going straight into education, they could start going straight into work and then figure out, okay, is this something that I want to continue with? Or, I don't know if I explained that idea in the best way possible, but I think you get kind of that idea.
I get the gist of it. And I guess in these times where there is this virus going about, and we actually need people to take care of each other, we would be better off if everyone was basically sort of trained into being more empathic and helpful towards each other. So if everyone spent a year or two of their life actually, just in the service of others, that would greatly benefit everyone. And also what I really like about the whole concept of just sort of leaving this system behind which we are in now, because what's really cool about this particular time we're in right now is that we're at the sort of breaking point, and the coronavirus is making it possible for us to actually take a proper break from all the insane things we were doing. And we can sort of look at our society, we can look at how we've set things up, and we can actually reshuffle the deck and set it up quite differently. We've been playing solitaire now for 2,000 years. Maybe it's time we play, what's the one, Spider? Maybe we're ready for something different. But like at the core of it all, at least in my mind, it's like, listen to the universal basic income. It's like we're all part of this. We're in this boat together. Like if I've saw this documentary about this guy and two other dudes. They went on a trip to the moon, and when they saw Earth from the moon, actually just two of them got to go to the moon. The third one had to stay behind. Sad story, but I'm going off subject. But point being, when he looked down, the first guy who went down, both of them looked at the moon. Obviously, the guy looked at the planet. It's just like a ball. It's like a basketball. It's like, and all they had ever known and experienced were on that friggin' ball. We're on that ball, all of us. And I think what's important to remember is that, like, we're in this together. And obviously, it would be more beneficial for everyone on the entire planet if we just let go of this idea that you need to deserve something. Because what we know for a fact is that everyone comes from very different social backgrounds, families, and they have very different opportunities for what their lives can be. And like you said, when you were 11 years old, you figured out the meaning of life. And why would we as a society want to stop you from pursuing that quest?
There is this idea that if you're going to spend your time on that, we are one soldier short to make this big important system work.
Oh yes.
Like I said, that doesn't actually serve humanity. It just serves something that we have forgotten what was the point with.
What's the name of that guy who needs to push the stone up the hill, and then when he comes to the top, it rolls down again? Sisyphus?
Yeah, probably. But
put that into the system, right?
Yeah.
The entire humanity is like, if we just cooperate now and pushing the ball upwards, we're gonna do amazing things. And then it rolls back down and goes, okay, let's start over.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But it's like that's probably something so beautiful about this time, that we get to ask this question, like, okay, what if we just wipe the whole plate and start it all again? What's actually important now? Like, what are the core values of humanity? Do we need to continue thinking that we need to have a system that you need to deserve to be a part of, or that you deserve that if you have spent X amount of hours, you can have this big cake? Is that what we're going to do, or are we going to find a new kind of a grounding that we realize, okay, if you're in this together, it means that if this guy spends 2 years doing research that can be anything. Like you can be smoking weed for 24 hours.
Sounds intense, man.
Yeah, but it's like, if maybe for what we know, there is going to come something good out of that, a new idea, a new insight that's going to bring something new into the totality of humanity. Like, we can do it this way. Like even toilet paper, the whole concept of toilet paper, someone invented it.
Did you see that movie Demolition Man where they use like shells instead? That's sort of interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but it's like
it is really interesting.
Yeah.
That, like,
we have all this thing that we take for granted, but also we don't realize that some of them are not serving us, or maybe we start realizing now that they are no longer serving us. It might be time to ask if we can let them go and create something new. And I think the big shift that we are invited to see is to create something new, whatever it is, that doesn't keep like value on people, in like, you have deserved, you have not deserved, or you have done enough, you are not done enough, you are healthy, you are unhealthy, you can work, you cannot work, like all these kind of labels. If we remove them, you give people space to actually start being creative and start contributing and start working together.
Stopping the blame game, which is what's going on in 2020, you know. This is a year for the blame game. Sorry.
They don't have to do criminal things or destructive things.
Yeah.
Because it's a fact that when people have economical hardship and they're out of a job, and it's very likely that they're going to start using drugs and somehow doing something illegal. We've been kind of preventing that pretty well in Norway, but I guess it could be even better. But the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, I'm just saying that what is about to happen if we take this step as humanity is that we go from survival to actually building something. Like, not just because that's a problem, that those people that get into like becoming a criminal or drug head or whatever, is like they are being pushed into somewhere that they're not actually getting what they need. So, and then it's not that they're not doing it right. It's just that it is impossible to serve a function that isn't even meant for them, and at the same time deal with whatever they haven't given space to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's also important to remember that building things used to be something really important. You just put it in there in a sentence somewhere, and I kind of just grabbed it and held on to it. But right now, we've built too much. I mean, there are so many houses on this earth. I'm not going to say that we have a room for everybody, but I think we have. There are so many people who have 3 or 4 houses, and if we start talking about things, it would be even worse. I mean, I'm a bit of a hypocrite because right here I have a couple of bikes, and I do collect a little bit of stuff myself, but I think it's important that we start a shift where we try to go towards buying favors instead of buying garbage, because that's basically what we're doing right now. It's so cheap and so easy to buy garbage from Chinese factories who are basically making the country so polluted that have you heard of this? The fact that the coronavirus might actually save more people in China than it's killing?
By the sheer fact that they're not working and not polluting as much?
Yeah, because so many people are saved by not having to breathe the polluted air. It saves people. anyways, it's kind of beside the point. People are buying too much stuff. That's what I'm saying, and they should buy favors instead. I mean,
but don't you think now? If we imagine for a second that if 11-year-old KP were allowed to just uninterrupted pursue his mission of figuring out the meaning of life without having financial or society saying, well, you need to do this and that in order to function in the society, you could actually just be KP doing what you came here to do. And well, that's actually what you're doing right now, but you're doing it within a system that is what if maybe feels a bit like it's working against you. But then I would sort of also say that what I find like the gift of perspective, I like to call it, because the coronavirus, you can look at it as a plague that's going to destroy mankind, or you can look at it as the gift that's going to save us all. And both holds true. It's just a matter of which you want to sort of like, which do you want to pursue? Like,
I hope so.
Yes.
I think a lot of people consider me a negative guy because I notice a lot of negative things going on, but I think I'm actually a really positive guy. It's just that sometimes it's hard. It's hard for people to have a different viewpoint, and I very much agree with you that this might be a good test for us as humankind, how we deal with this. And if we can't deal with this properly, how are we going to deal with something that is far worse? Because it's probably going to happen.
Well, from what I can tell, it seems like the universe tends to give you sort of inform you about something, and if you're ignoring it, it's just going to become a bit louder. And like the coronavirus, I feel is like a beautiful example of sort of like the universe gently telling us that maybe we should just sort of stop what we're doing, think a little, meditate on this, and actually create a better world. And we can do this without like a horrible war or a plague killing everyone. So it's I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better way to start a shift in humanity. Like it's not another world war, for instance. And even though maybe at the time it felt like we sort of turned a new page in the late 40s. I wasn't around in this incarnation then, but we still sort of feel like the vibe of like we figured things out, and now we're sort of looking down the barrel of the consequences of those actions that's been going on since that turn, huh? and it's still not sustainable. We're still learning and we're still growing, and it looks to me like we're currently like just on the verge of actually taking our first steps as human beings, as we've been sort of going around blindfolded on our knees, fighting to survive in a world where actually everything is for us, not against us. But it involves this leap of, I call it faith, where you actually have to trust that the coronavirus, for instance, is an aid, it's not the thing that's going to destroy us, it's the thing that's going to elevate us.
Yeah. I think we're entering the point of the discussion where it gets a little bit deeper and a little bit more crazy and a little bit more abstract.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to ask you, have you discussed the theory that everything is a simulation?
We've done simulation theory, of course.
Yes.
We've done everything.
Yeah.
Several times.
What about
simulation theory?
Everything is a computer game?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because I think the coronavirus is definitely like a solid indicator that we have leveled up. We have the next level.
Good points.
Things are gonna get a little bit harder, but we have also like gathered the knowledge to reach that step. And it's a very exciting. It's an exciting time to be in.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we played like what's the game SimCity back in like the early 90s or something, where you could turn off disasters? Like because there was like an algorithm where there would be natural disasters or Godzilla or something would sort of come into your city and destroy everything, but you could turn off disasters. The thing with turning off disasters was that the problem with the game, if you turned off the disaster, was that it became boring.
Yeah, of course.
Because to evolve, we need these gentle nudges. And but yeah, so where are you on the simulation train, KP? How simulated is this reality?
It's kind of hard to say. Our brain is hardwired to see patterns everywhere, so it's really easy if you want to start looking for signs that this is a simulation. It becomes really obvious that this is simulation very, very quickly. And there's also some smart people who have discussed this and discussed that at some point or another we are going to be a simulation. And if we're going to be a simulation, there's a chance that we already are in a simulation, and that's. And then there's going to be a lot of different simulations. So, but there's only one like not simulation. So that's kind of the argument for us already being in a simulation. But I don't know. I think it's interesting to talk about, but I don't think we're going to get anywhere real quick on that one.
But I think
it's not going to solve this today.
What is interesting is I've asked different people that are into computers, and I also used to be really into computers. I'm not that much anymore, but it's like if you run a virtual computer on a computer, there is no exact way to actually figure out that you are virtual if you are in the virtual computer. Yeah. I think that's the interesting part with this simulation as well. There is no exact way to know. Because it's simulated, so it's not supposed to.
But it's like, is there really a difference? I don't know. It's like, if we consider it like this hand consists of lots of molecules that consist of atoms, and the atoms consists of electrons and neutrons, and but in between all of it, it's mostly space.
Empty space,
It's empty space.
That's just to save.
And since it's so much space, it might as well. To save bandwidth. So it's in a way, I think it doesn't really matter. It's.
I have a theory about it that makes sense to me. To take it all out, like even further out.
Yeah, let's go.
And that's just like, okay, if that's the thing, like we have a way of understanding it like that in our intellectual computer-based minds. But to me, it makes sense if that's the truth, that this is kind of this is kind of a training ground, because we are actually gods in the making. So we are here to realize we are gods, and here to develop ourselves so that we can later on go somewhere where it actually has a consequence what you create. Here is just a game, so it doesn't matter. So no matter what you do here, no matter how wrong it goes, there is not the problem, because it's the real stuff doesn't get affected. Only inside a simulation, it seems like it get affected.
We made a word for this.
Unfuckable.
Yeah. Because that's what it turns out about this simulation is it's unfuckable. Now, what I obviously love about the simulation theory is that when people talk about it, they always talk about it like we're involuntarily being put into a simulation. Why on earth is that like the most logical conclusion? It's quite obvious that we are in our own simulation, which we made with intention to experience this. That's like, come on, man. That's.
But I think that's the difference.
Like, oh no, that someone else created the simulation and then they tricked me into it.
I think that's the difference between like, I think a lot of people, and including myself on my journey, is only during the last few years that it has started to shift. Is like this, that the whole existence of life kind of feels like a victim thing. Like, how did I even end up here in this weird place? You know, if you actually go a little deeper into your psyche and to recognize why are you here, that's kind of the subconscious feeling that a lot of people have, that this is a terrible place. I don't know why I came here or why I even exist in this bubble. There must be something wrong. And then it's really appealing to go into those kind of ideas that's kind of loads more into the victim mentality. But on that journey, what I realized that the more I work on myself and the more I get conscious of who I am, the more it kind of shifts into, oh, this is my life. I've created this. I want this. I actually chose this. And then then you start taking responsibility for your own life. And it becomes fun because you realize that you are actually, even though things happen that you have no control over, you still realize that this is your experience and this is your thing, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of a word called pronoid? I don't know how to pronounce it.
No.
It's basically the opposite of paranoid.
Oh.
And, I'm not going to say I've suffered from this, but I definitely have this condition at times. Basically what happens is that, for instance, if I go into like a deep thinking state and I realize that, well, this is a computer game, and instead of becoming paranoid that who's controlling the computer game and everybody is doing surveillance on me and there's cameras everywhere and stuff like that, I go into the state of mind where I'm like, somebody made this awesome computer game for me to play.
Right, that's the one. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at this technology that I put into it. It's like, oh, they've done so much work just to make the computer game fun for me.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you get to choose your perspective, and you can see completely different things.
Yeah.
I believe there's a word for that experience, and the word is grace. What you experience is grace. That's I can't believe they made this for me. That's fucking awesome. And then you're just being like, wow. Rude lady on the bus stop. Wow. That's insanely cool. Like, and I don't know, I've landed very securely in this. I always wanted to be here. This is what I always wanted. Ever since before the beginning of time, I wanted to do this. And we're doing it right now, and it's fucking incredible. And I love it. And like, look at, we're sort of elevating the whole thing right now, where we're actually daring to talk about looking at life in a different way and actually seeing how can we make life better for everyone, not just for myself, but for the self, for everyone. And that's very powerful stuff. Because we're putting words into motion, and well, it's that's powerful stuff.
Yes.
Are we gonna go on? Do we do like an hour, or are we gonna go for like however long it takes?
Around an hour is best for me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Or you can continue without me If I'm reading
I would be perfectly happy to come back later if there's ever room again.
There's always room.
This has been
There's
so
always
much
room,
fun.
Always room.
So,
But because I got some stuff. Do we?
okay.
Like, first of all, in a true Wake Up Show tradition, I've actually managed this time around, because I forgot the last episode with you, because that was really spontaneous, to find a quote that I find is very appropriate for this episode in particular.
Can we first sum up the episode?
My God, you're a genius, man. Let's sum up the episode.
Yeah.
Did you edit together like a small film?
Best of from this episode. No, I was saying, like, to keep to the topic of the episode, like the universal income concept. How do we land on that? Like,
it serves us, and particularly like everyone in this triple frame, best to have universal basic income, because we're here to do greater things than just have some Nimrod job. I mean, this includes all of humanity, and just by allowing us to actually making our YouTube videos and actually like going into that stuff, so that KP over here can make his fine arts, and we can continue waking everyone up. Well, that would make a whole lot of sense. And like, for instance, now we're talking about, we need to bail out all the businesses after this Corona gift that we've all been so fortunate to come upon. But this is the perfect opportunity to just cut out the middleman and say, well, no, we're doing universal basic income, and then everyone is actually free to pursue their life missions. And me personally, nothing pleases me more than when KP continues trying to figure out the meaning of life, because that's what he's here to do, and I don't want to ever do anything other than help him continue his mission. Was that a sum up, or was it just
I think that's like the interesting thing to see the bigger picture in that is that it is so easy for us to kind of judge the society looking from our angle. So like all of three of us right now has this, we are freelancers, creative people, we are pursuing the kind of the big questions of life. So we all have that perspective to come into the kind of soup of people. But everyone has their own perspective, and it's easy to forget that there are actually people who loves the jobs that we don't like. Just as much as we love the jobs we love, that other people wouldn't touch. So like there is someone who loves cleaning toilets. True story. They exist.
Yeah.
And I respect that. Like really respect that. Actually, some people are happy with that kind of job. I could not imagine doing that, because that's not truly because it's kind of bad. It's just because that's not why I'm here. I have other truths to my story. And some people love serving coffee in a cafeteria. Some people hate it. Some people love to make music. Some people love numbers. Some people are accountants. Can you imagine? Like even Ulf loves accounting.
I'd rather scrub toilets.
Yeah. So my point is that there is something for everyone, and if I think one of the bigger trust that we need to find in ourselves in order to trust that society is capable of working together is to realize that there is something for everyone, because everyone has completely different journeys to take, regardless of income, regardless of money, regardless of status and all these different things. Like I believe that bringing into the picture this kind of basic income would also remove a lot of the status issues that still exists, because people
everyone is
I think it would be easier. It would be easier to do jobs where you don't create anything. If you're a personal instructor, or if you're just somebody that wants to hang out with old people who maybe need some help to buy groceries.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do massages, or if you want to clean toilets or clean apartments, if you want to help out and walk dogs and many jobs that we can't do in Norway anymore because everybody needs to earn like $30 an hour.
Yeah. So it's like people would actually be able to be true to their calling instead of their income.
Yeah.
So that would make the whole system actually more organic, and so there wouldn't be a resource problem anymore because it would even out in the natural resources instead of being valued as such or this and that.
Would be a big win.
Yeah, it would be a complete game changer. But I think it needs to come gradual, even after this big shift that we're going through right now. I think it is a step-by-step integration of these new ways of thinking that we have seen some traces of already in different countries.
Yeah, but like one of the things that need to happen very, very quickly is that freelancers need some kind of guarantee. The way it is right now, it's so obvious that like all musicians, everybody in the film and television industry, everybody who are like affected of being a freelancer, they need something, and that's something that we have to address before basic income. Basic income has got to come later, but it has got to come at some point because basically the computers and robots are taking over.
Yeah, I think it's just a question about time. We can't avoid it anymore. It has to shift.
Yeah.
Guys, I just quickly need to go take a leak before I do the things. So you just speak for a couple of minutes. I'm going to be real quick.
No problem.
Love you guys. So see you in a
Good luck.
Yeah.
So what do you think is like natural steps towards something like that in Norway to make it concrete?
I don't know. I don't have a TV anymore. I cut out like the big Norwegian newspapers. I cut out TV. I cut back on all that because I found that it was just giving me too much, not anxiety, but it was bringing me down more than it was bringing me up, and it wasn't giving me the information that I wanted. But I heard that some big politician in Norway were talking about giving everybody something like 10,000 kroners, this being freelancers. They were not talking about this as basic income, but it's basically the same concept, but with a different name. And I think that would be a good start.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's going to be hard to say. It's this is not over. It's we're only in like the second or third week of real craziness. Today people were. You gotta watch the video I made today. It's really stupid.
I watched it. I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah. But you saw basically what's happening right now.
Yeah, the joggers.
People can't stay inside. People have to go outside and start jogging. That's kind of my stupid observation. But there were a lot of people out, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens if this ends up if we need stricter, if there's another round of lots of infected people and we have to become more strict, it's going to be really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a real real big test.
Or as we wake uppers like to say, that's going to be really good for them to actually have to sit with themselves for a couple of days and having to ask these bigger questions in life, and not escaping it through jogging or binge watching something on Netflix.
I'm not sure.
I'm quite positive.
I think
It's just a friendly nudge, you know.
I think, well, I understand what you're going at, but I'm not sure it's true in a way, because I think the three of us, we are deep thinkers, and I met like a really deep thinker in the Philippines. He was a guy that like he built a telescope with his dad in the 60s. He was born right after the Second World War. He walked 3 times around New Zealand, twice with a horse. He's just an all-around crazy guy. And he told me that you don't look like a guy with a high IQ. But inside there is high IQ. You're just like me, something like that. And that's the best compliment I ever had. And it's cool and it's true, but it's definitely not true for everybody. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think being a deep thinker isn't like a glorious thing. It can also be like the root of depression and hard times and
a gift and a curse.
To me, it makes sense that I truly believe that people are at completely different kind of parts of their journey, and to me, it also makes sense that we have kind of several lifetimes to try these things. We have many ways.
Lifetimes.
We can try. We can try to play the game as much as we want, to say it like that. And living one life one incarnation is kind of one, it's one life. And it is natural that everyone is at different places. So yes, some people do not have it in their destiny, or whatever you want to call it, to ask all these big questions in this lifetime. It doesn't make sense to me. But a lot of people right now are really, really ready and hungry to ask these things if they just are actually put into that pressure cooker.
Friendly push.
Yeah. So everyone has their own journey and are in completely different places without judgment. That because it's natural. It's a natural process for every game player, to say it like that.
Yeah, I just think that people don't have to play the game the same way. I remember speaking with a game developer who actually lived in Drammen, where Ulf. Are you there as well?
No, I'm in Oslo.
I haven't convinced him yet to elope.
So I spoke with this game developer in Drammen, and he had just gotten, I think it was Grand Theft Auto 3. And he was playing that and basically doing what the game is trying to tell you to do, follow the story, and end up shooting cops and killing hookers and all that. But his daughter also played it, and she didn't crash the car at all. She was just driving around, looking at stuff and obeying the law. And well, I don't know if Grand Theft Auto is the perfect example, because Minecraft or even more creative games let you play even in a more open way. And I think for some people, like for us deep thinkers, it's like figuring out the meaning of life and stuff like that. But for others, it might be just to be the person that can jump the farthest on skis, or just be comfortable. Some people just want to be normal and live a safe and happy life and watch their children grow. And I think we all have
I think
have
it's like
our own ways of finding meaning,
Mm.
but not everybody has to think about
yeah.
finding meaning.
I think it's true.
Some can just live.
But I want to add to that the way I look at it is like, I think when you have played the game enough times, you have different kind of goals for every life. But at a certain point,
I see what
a certain point, you start questioning, what is this whole thing altogether? And that's kind of, so to me, it makes sense that you have played for a certain period of time in your own ways every time. And at some point, you want to start ask the question, why am I even playing this game at all? And that's when you start waking up from the game. But until that, you have, and there's so much value probably to have all those experiences. I don't know. But I feel the one experience I'm going through right now is to just realize, oh, I'm playing a game. And asking questions around that. But then maybe 10 lives ago, I was asking a different question, like, how could I don't know.
How come milk is so expensive, you said?
Yeah, for instance. So, and all of that is perfect because we need all of it, because that's the whole meaning of the organism.
That's the
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
I think I'm kind of going back towards just playing the game.
Mm.
It's
Are you gonna be the guy in the Matrix that's sort of like, no, I'm gonna just go back into the Matrix because this is too intense, man. This is the fun stuff. We're getting to the fun stuff, you know. Don't bail on me.
no, I'm not going to be that guy.
You're not that guy.
But
okay,
I don't know.
I've prepared.
I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Yeah, you can
Until next time.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Okay, so as I said for half an hour ago, it seems, I prepare a quote that I think will fit this particular episode perfectly. Print it out on a piece of paper. Look at that. It's a piece of paper. And I don't know, KP, maybe you want to read the quote, because if I hold it up like this, can you read it? No?
Absolutely not.
Let's see if I can make it easier for you. There we go.
Want to make the world a better place? Take a look at yourself and make the change.
If you want to make the world a better place, as it turns out, you have to look at yourself and make the change.
What about Corona?
It's a Michael Jackson quote, right?
I guess that applies to that's a Michael Jackson quote that he wrote it himself, and I've lately become listening in on like Archangel Michael, and I do believe it seems to be like Michael was channeling Michael at the time he wrote that song, because it's freaking beautiful and so powerful, and it's empowering to know that you are the creator of your experience, but you actually have to meet yourself and be present with yourself, and then actually anything can happen and good things will happen for sure. Once we stop blaming other people and we just enjoy this experience that we wanted for as far as I can tell, for millennia.
Or stop blaming Corona.
Yeah.
That's and that too.
Or stop drinking Corona.
Yeah, I bought 2 Coronas today. Actually.
They must be sold out of in all stores with Corona
The
by now,
joke is so bad.
everyone's joking about the Corona.
Yeah.
So are we good? And I'm going to end this episode with a song. And this is like brand new stuff. I've never done this before in my entire life. Done it in some other lives. I went well in some of them and horribly wrong in others. Because recently I've started playing on a guitar. I've never played a guitar in my life. I got a guitar when I was a kid, but I didn't want a guitar. I wanted a keyboard. Hated my parents for it. But I got this like feeling that I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. So this seems like the perfect place to play the guitar, even though I'm not like I would say I'm a well, we'll see.
Can you sit further away so we can see the guitar as well?
God damn it! You want to see the guitar?
Yes.
I want to see the guitar, not your face.
It's like a porno film. What shows the guitar, man? Okay, just relax. It's flaccid. Relax. But before I sing this song, I was gonna say it from the bottom of my heart, and I actually made a heart. Specifically for this occasion, this is a waffle heart because this is the International Waffle Day. Did you know this? I want to say to you two guys, I love you guys from the bottom of my heart, which is bottomless.
Love you back.
And to all our viewers and listeners, love you guys too. And take another little piece of my heart now, darling. That's not the
It
song.
looks like a fancy waffle, by the way.
Well, me and my daughter, we made like waffles with coloring in it, so it became sort of got some blue in it. Yeah, it was fun. We tried making letters. It was very difficult. But so in sort of, and now that I look at the lyrics of the song, because I don't know it by heart, and I'm going to struggle at times, and you're just going to have to bear with me because this is like me hijacking the entire ending of the show. This song is very appropriate to what we've been talking about this entire evening. Okay, so let me see how this goes. And yeah, love you too, Sylvia. How does it sound like I'm playing guitar? You have to say yes or no.
Sound is good. We can hear you well.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can't sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. Nothing you can, no one you can say that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. And this is hard. Sorry. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. Oh, need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. There's another verse and everything, but you sort of get the point. Play the game, be you, and there's nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be, and you're meant to be right here. And relax. You're loved, you're taken care of. And I was going to say, when you talked about this, all the emptiness that's between your molecules and all that, all the empty space in the universe, I've checked this and I can verify it. It's love. So just relax. You're bathing it.
Oh,
Everything is love. All you need is love, and it's all around you, bathing in. So thank you, KP, for hanging out with us. Looking forward to next time.
It was so much fun.
And let's... thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
And support show Patreon.com/the wake